Hello, everyone. Nubkeks here. Welcome back to Nub Raids, where we actually have some surprise news today, which is unexpected, especially on a Wednesday in the middle of CVC. You know, they're usually announcing this stuff at different days, but hey, it's Wednesday and we've got some news. So, first of all, we've got info on summoning events coming up this weekend. The first one I think is good. The second one is pretty disappointing. So the first one on Thursday, so that's the 7th of November, that's tomorrow. It's going to be a guaranteed champion event. So Ulfrig by 40 Ancient Shards. So it's another one of the Lady Mikage fusion. Unfortunately, I've done the fusion now, so I can't show it to you. But it's Ulfrig. He's one of the champions you need for the Lady Mikage fusion. He's a decent champion. I think this is really something you do if you're stuck on him for the Lady Mikage fusion. So I probably wouldn't do this if you've not made any progress towards Mikage. If you kind of need everything, you know, you might pull him. I think this is for people. It's a great thing to do if you've done almost all. You've got almost all of the champions for Mikage, but you just don't have that Ulfric. You just have not pulled him. This becomes super valuable. I was in that situation with Elisinia, and I think it's a no-brainer to go for them if you are that close, because, look, 40 Ancient Shards, if you've got most of Mikage Fusion done, you're pretty far into the game. 40 Ancient Shards, not that big of a deal, and Mikage is such a game changer in literally so many areas. She's in Hydra, Clan Boss, Fire Knight, Arena, for me, like everywhere. Siege, everywhere. You want to get her. So, yeah, Ulfric, other than that, he's a decent champion. I would not be bothering to go for him, though, outside of Mikage. Simple enough. But, you know, if you're early game, he's really good. But if you're that early in the game, you want to save your 40 Ancients. You want to save that for 2x Ancients instead, pretty much. Just get more Epics is more valuable than just getting the one, is my thought on it anyway. Let me know if you disagree. Now, the other one, that will be up for, by the way, 24 hours. And this will precede, almost definitely, I think, yeah, definitely, will precede let's double check it. It should precede the summon event, which should be Summon Rush starts on Friday. So Friday is when the Summon Rush starts. And we do have a summon event going with that, which is for the 72 hours, which is a 2x Ancients, but not 2x Ancients, sorry, 2x Primals, but the bad version. 2x event to summon epic and legendaries from primal shards, and that will be overlapping a 10x for Hansel Witch Hunter, who's of course the partner to the fusion. Now, why does this suck? Because it's not a 2x for mythicals, and mythicals is what you really want from those primals. I'll be honest, I think it's very likely now, given that this is early November. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if like Christmas weekend is gonna be, you know, something like that is going to be a 2x for mythicals, would be my guess, right? Mythicals really define the top end of PvP. And, you know, look, they've just announced yesterday, oh, here I go, I go into the top end and there's no mythicals in here. Look at me, but playing myself for a fool. Here's some mythicals. There we go. That's more like it, a bit further down. Mythicals are extremely dominant. You really do want those mythicals. Live Arena, if you missed the video yesterday, they're going to be forcing people to do it now. Like this arena quest, when you're level 60 or above, is going to be changed to a live arena quest. So live arena is really going to be pushed. Like I said, I'm actually somewhat, I need to actually read your comments on that video. I haven't had time yet today. I'm actually somewhat in favor of that change. I think it's likely a very unpopular opinion, but I am actually somewhat in favor of it. I do think, for me, in my opinion, Live Arena is actually the best arena mode. I think it's Classic Arena, but better. I think it's, ironically, more competitive. I think Classic Arena just often ends up to just farming teams, and it's super easy. Like, if you're just, like, winning every fight, then Classic Arena is great. But for an actual competitive PvP, I think the draft mode actually quite decent. And, yeah, I mean, the matchmaking, like I said, is not perfect. Sometimes you're going to go up against people. Perhaps even fairly often you go up against people and be like, oh, that person has clearly spent thousands more than I have on the game, or they're, you know, just way further on and I'm getting absolutely stomped. And then vice versa. Sometimes you fight people that are much weaker and that you are either further or you have spent much more money than. Matchmaking can be a bit hit or miss for sure. That's just the way it is. But I do think it is the best mode. Mythicals are a big impact there. What I'm trying to say, I think this is kind of sucks, and I would probably be doing the Summon Rush. Probably more with Sacreds, maybe even Voids. I'd probably skip the primals. Hansel, I wonder, will there be a guaranteed for Hansel? I think they still could do a guaranteed champ for Hansel. I think that they probably, I mean, it would be really bad form to do a guaranteed for him very shortly after running a 2x, 10x for him. So maybe we won't see a guaranteed event for Hansel. Maybe he'll just pop up in like summon pools and 10x events and stuff like that. Again, I don't think he's the champion that's worth chasing. I think these ratings are pretty accurate. I think he's good. Like, I was actually surprised by how strong I ran them with the Lady Mikage, and I was actually kind of surprised by how good Greta and Hansel were in Arena. I was also surprised by how bad they were in Hydra, relative to my expectations. But yeah, I thought Hansel was actually pretty good for Arena, but I wouldn't chase him. I think, the big thing for me really was they need a lot of gear. And there's lots of champions that need that particular gear that they need. So, Lethal Stone Skin or Merciless, that sort of stuff. You probably have got plenty of champions that are maybe even much better than these that are requiring the same gear. It's actually tough to build them up just for an arena comp, I found. Yeah, sort of my thoughts on it. So I would not be too pushed, honestly, about chasing the Hansel, is my opinion. Certainly, he makes the fusion way better, and she makes him way better. It'd be fine to have him at some point, but I think realistically, not that many of you are actually going to use him. But that's not all. There's also some other news from the devs. Let's check it out. All right, so here we go. Now, apologies. This is actually maybe I'll zoom in some, and I don't have a handy. I don't know what the hotkey is for moving stuff around here in Snip, but let's zoom it in so it's a bit easier for you to read if you're on mobile. 7 different points from the devs addressing common concerns, which I think is awesome. Actually, this is great. I love seeing the devs communicate more, and genuinely that's something that we should really appreciate. Do not turn your nose up at the devs making an effort to be more open to players. It's a brilliant thing. Let's see what they have to say. So, champion storage. We hear your concerns. The development team has already begun testing an expansion for champion storage to address these limitations. Although we can't provide specific details yet, their ultimate goal is to develop a technical solution that will allow for major storage expansions up to 1,000 additional champion slots in the future. Keep you updated. I think this is great. This is mostly a whale problem. You really need to be buying shards, I think, to run out of champion storage, I think. But let's be honest, a lot of players do. And, the players that really fund the game and make it such a ridiculously profitable game are the ones that do this. So, okay, that's nice. And I think this will have a big impact for some of those players. Like, I think especially like for the Uber Krakens, like they even have champion storage. I think I saw Cruisen chatting with Hell Hades and saying that, on like Doc Moreau's account, the guy literally only has 10 free slots because he's got like every champion, like +4 and probably multiple copies. But that sort of level, only 10 slots to actually pull any champion. So he has to pull 10 champs, then feed them. So, for the Krakens, for whales even, I think will be affected. This is a nice thing. So that's great. Siege improvements. Many of you have raised concerns about the issue of tanking in Siege. Okay, great. This is something that I've raised definitely myself. It's a problem in multiple game modes, but I think it's particularly true in Siege. The game design team is actively working on ways to minimize the impact of such exploits to ensure fairer gameplay. In the meantime, keep an eye out for changes announced in the upcoming patch. Give them a try and share your feedback. So this is brilliant. Again, I've talked about this before. My clan does a ton of tanking in Siege, but then again, every single clan at this high end will, because it is unfortunately the smart way to play. It is what you are rewarded for doing. So there is little point in going above. Why would you go above 7,000 points to get your chests? There's no point in doing it, right? You want to win with as many losses as possible, because the higher up you are in this score, the tougher your fights are. So, of course, you just want to go in and lose a lot of battles intentionally, right? So long as you're not giving up other rewards, why would you win when you can lose and lower your matchmaking score? You get easier fights, so it's better for you. Of course, it's worse for the people that you're up against. And it means that tier 6 is... this might affect other tiers a little bit. I think it affects mostly tier 6, and it makes that top end late game play a complete disaster. When really for, end game clans should be fighting other end game clans. But the game heavily incentivizes you to exploit the system. Heavily. So they need to make changes. I think One straightforward change would be to massively up the points for a siege victory. I think that would be good. I mean, maybe you need to increase the levels for each tier and up the points for siege victory so that you can still climb up the tiers at the same speed. But I mean, I think that's really the goal, right? In siege, the main goal is to win. Yeah, so winning should be the number one thing for determining who you're match made against. But it's not right now. You can completely mitigate. I mean, like, so I have, for me, yeah, I'm going to go into a typical siege with 3 attacks and 3 rebattles, right? If I throw 2 attacks and I throw 2 rebattles, -6 times 5, -30 points from me on my own, right? I get my 1 win. At least that's changing, but I get my 1 win to qualify for everything, and then I lose 5 fights intentionally, -30 points. Just me on my own. I have basically counteracted almost siege victory. That's 1 person in a 30-person clan, right? Imagine everyone's doing that in a clan, which is what happens, and it's silly. They really, really, really need to change this drastically. I think also like incentives, like some sort of leaderboard, some incentive for pushing up higher in siege would be good. I mean, maybe even need a tier 7. I don't know. I feel like they need to do stuff to stop this manipulation. I think it's yeah, I think it's really bad. Again, this is something that happens in every mode. So, like, I mean, classically in Arena, you might just set, set a one-man defense in Classic Arena so that you can lose fights, drop. We're actually winning some. Whoops. You actually lose fights and drop down to just free farm Classic Arena. Not that big of a deal because it's just sort of a dead game mode, in my opinion. But Siege should be better. Like, they improved Hydra Clash. Their answer for Hydra Clash was to add in personal rewards. So it's sort of forcing players to score higher. I think that's been good. But yeah, they need to again, you can have multiple ways to address this, multiple incentives. But I think it is important for the integrity of the game mode to improve it. And like I said, there's also a bunch of Siege changes coming. So I'm excited to see how that's going to impact Siege as well. But yeah, this has been, it's a huge issue. And I don't think they have actually fixed it for Siege yet. So hopefully that is something that they will actually fix in the future. Because, yeah, letting players, I mean, matchmaking is always a bit tricky. Letting players manipulate it is a big problem. It's something that, again, works better. Live arena matchmaking is significantly better because it's just one person. The problem with Siege, when it gets complicated, and it's the same thing with, like, team games. So, like, yeah, I've got a good history of MOBA games, which are usually 5 versus 5. Matchmaking in those games can always be a lot more frustrating. The more players, like, because this is, you're matchmaking 30 people, it's tricky. It's much trickier to get good matchmaking, to be fair, than it is for when you're just ranking people 1 versus 1. Like, have you ever seen a really good football player on a weak team? Yeah, a bit unfair to that player in theory, but yes. Anyway, that's enough babbling. Let's jump on to the next point. Arena Blessings in Siege. Incinerate Lethal Dose. Many of you have asked for the Incinerate and Lethal Dose blessings to be rebalanced to make them valuable in Siege battles. Yes, definitely. Where's my scroll bar gone? There it is. Developers agree with you, plan to adjust these blessings for use in this mode in a future update. However, speaking of arena auras, they're sticking to their vision of encouraging players to develop unique teams specifically for Siege, rather than transferring arena team setups. I'm actually okay with this. I think this is good. So one interesting thing I can't show you because, they haven't pushed the repair thing live, so everything is destroyed. But there are, we can't see them, which also should probably change, right? But there are bonuses at, I think, maybe higher levels of the Stronghold that up the effectiveness of poisons, burns, and bombs in Siege. And that's a bit of a problem because you're talking about defense teams with those blessings, or with those bonuses, I think they're called. Yeah, bonuses. Defense teams, like bombs and stuff, are incredibly powerful on offense. They're not quite as good on defense because you can see it coming and you can build a team designed to counter it, like high resistance or cleansers, block debuffs, protection sets, that sort of thing. Like, there's stuff you can do, But it's in there. I'm curious how that's going to interact. Like, if I go in with a big bonus in Siege to poisons and I'm running Lethal Dose as well, I think this is a great change because Siege is basically another arena mode, pretty much. It is a little silly that, because it's the place as well where Lethal Dose and Incinerate would be best because of the team limitations. So I think that's good. I think that's really good. And it's going to definitely bring a bunch of those teams more to the fore. It's going to be very, very powerful. And it helps on offense as well as just defense. The arena auras I'm also fine with. I think they're really trying to push, I think in particular, like faction unity stuff to be stronger. He's not faction unity, but they're trying to push like the faction unity auras for like the faction specific stages. And the reality is that, because it's an arena mode, typically you just be going for your best speed aura. So I think, not letting those really strong arena speed auras in is probably a good thing overall, right? That you would actually be using the faction unity stuff a bit more. It enables a bit more niche stuff. I think this really pushes mythicals. I think it really pushes faction unity, but I actually think that's okay. I kind of think it's interesting where you're going in and you're like, okay, well, whatever, Bob in the clan, oh, he's got the faction unity for this faction. Okay, great. He can take that post and can feel kind of good about, oh, cool, I built a really good Skinwalker team because I've got the faction unity, or, oh, I've got the mythical for this faction. I can build a really good team for that. I think that's actually kind of interesting. I think, for me, that's what makes the mythicals and faction unities interesting. I personally don't find it that interesting when everyone's got all the mythicals. That's not for me. I think it's more interesting when different people in your clan and different people in the enemy clan have those different things. And it's like, oh, Bob, look, they've got a really good Skinwalker thing. Yo, get Bob. Yo, message Bob on Discord, because sadly the in-game communication sucks. Yo, Bob, need you to take down the Skinwalker room that they've got there. You've got the faction unity, the mythical. Go for it. And he's like, yeah, cool, I can do it. That's quite fun. So I'm okay with that. Altar of Souls UI improvements. Devs have acknowledged your feedback to improve the user interface in the future to make navigating Altar of Souls smoother, more intuitive. It's a bit vague. That's good, I suppose. Don't know what it means. Clan chat. Oh, in-game Discord link button. There's been a strong demand for an in-game button that allows clan leaders to set a Discord link for their clans. The developers, where's my scroll bar gone? Gone. What the heck? Hello, there it is. Now it's back. The developers are considering how to implement this to better facilitate clan communication. That's actually really interesting. It's basically going, okay, we can't really fix the in-game chat. We're going to make Discord the go-to. You know what? It's not a bad idea. That is, like, rather than basically trying to build Discord level functionality in-game, just making it easy to get to Discord, yeah, it's a bit clunky in the sense it's a whole separate program, but Discord works really well on phones. It works really well on PC. It's a great chat program. People are already using it. Rather than trying to massively, I mean, it saves a lot of dev time to do other stuff rather than trying to improve the in-game chat, which should probably still happen as well. Having direct links to Discord at least helps somewhat. So I actually think this is good. Again, I think this is good. It's a quick and easy solution to a very big problem, which is in-game chat being terrible. It's not the best solution in theory, but in terms of like cost, it's a very high benefit to a very low cost. So yeah, I think it's actually sensible. Serpent Will. It's a new serpent called Will. New Hydra head. His name is Will. Nice to meet you. Serpents Will. As mentioned in last week's Raid Digest, developers are actively analyzing this issue. Where's my scroll bar? There it is. Come back, Mr. Scroll Bar. Are actively working on a solution to address it, specifically make it less stressful. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I think it's a pretty big problem. The Serpents Will. Like, the problem with Serpents Will, it actually makes the Trunda stuff worse. Because if you kill multiple heads at the same time, unfortunately, I think Hydra is just over, so I can't show you any teams. Yeah, it's just, there's no teams run. But when you kill multiple heads at the same time, decapitated heads, it will bring back one without Serpent's Will. I think the funny, ironic thing about this is, I feel like they brought this in as a way to sort of nerf Trunda, but ironically, Trunda, of all the champions in the game, is the best at killing multiple heads that are decapitated at the same time. A lot of other teams it's actually quite hard to kill multiple heads at the same time, but Trunda's damage is so insane that guess what? She can kill multiple, so then you bring back one that doesn't have Serpent's Will. Great. Trunda, you just wear it down, you get it decapitated, you wait for Serpent's Will to fall off the other heads. Okay, perfect. Great. Trunda, one-shot them all again. Great, cool. Right? Just wait out that Serpents Will, then one-shot them. Yeah, the Serpents Will change, I think, was really designed to counteract these sort of cheese teams. But I think it's just really played into the hands of the chief cheese team of all, which is the Trenda team. It's a truly spectacular game design change. Like, what the hell, man? Oh my, it's so bad. So they're going to be changing the Serpent's Will stuff. I think that is good. Definitely having multiple heads at Serpent Will is very, very annoying. I think another change they need to do, because I'm pretty sure they're not changing it, they need to change champion AI so that it prioritizes targeting heads without Serpent's Will. My understanding is that they're putting in a bunch of changes where champions will prioritize decapitated heads. That's great. They need to prioritize heads without Serpent's Will as well, because there's nothing more frustrating than your champions looking them go on auto and firing like ally attacks and stuff into heads at Serpent's Will. That feels really, really bad. So they need to put in some auto AI to prioritize living heads that don't have Serpent's Will over living heads that do. That would help somewhat. But yeah, like they need to make several changes really to make this better. Inbox organization, stacking identical items. Developers understand, acknowledge the need to save space in the inbox, are exploring options to allow stacking items with identical attributes. Please note this will not happen immediately. Some other things are in the work and take priority for now. I think that, again, that's fine. That's good to know that is coming. So yeah, making your inbox a bit more organized. I think that's great. Because, you do, certainly with Curse City, definitely increased the amount of stuff that is going into your inbox. Like, you're getting multi-battle. Like, yeah, if I take a quick gander at my inbox, I think there's probably like a bunch of, multi-battles, these whatever. Yeah, these changes. I've got live arena tokens, which I never use in there. It's a lot of multi-battles and stuff like that. Like, I've got 40 spaces of my inbox. I try to keep mine fairly clean. I've got 40 spaces filled up of like multi-battles and stuff. I could like claim them all, but it'd be better to consolidate this stuff a bit better. And yeah, I think it's a problem in the game as well. They keep adding more artifacts, but like they can't. It's very difficult to increase artifact storage. I'm even surprised they're increasing champ storage that much. If you ever jump onto account, I've noticed this from doing, takeovers and particularly showcases. When I jump on to like a Kraken account, which has tons of champions and tons of gear, and everyone's in gear and the account is full, the game runs so much slower than my normal game does. And again, if I jumped onto an early account with far fewer champions and importantly, far less gear, gosh, the game runs so much smoother. It's so much more responsive. It's just optimizing the game to have all of that data available and run smoothly is actually quite tricky. So while in theory, it would be great to have like infinite gear storage, I think the reality is that it's really hard to make the game run smoothly and to have all this work well. So yeah, I think definitely people are probably leaning a lot more in the inbox these days for like overflow gear. I think that was very true for a lot of players. I saw lots of comments about that with the event dungeon. That, gosh, sorting through all this event dungeon gear takes a lot of time, and oftentimes it would all be piling up in your inbox. So I think improvements to the inbox definitely should help somewhat with that. But there you go. Those are the changes. Let me know what you think. I think, honestly, it's really positive stuff overall. I think this is good, that the devs, my opinion on it is, definitely Siege. I think even arguably I think the game is in a little bit of a rough spot right now, but they're at least doing some steps in the right direction. I think this is great, and we need to see more stuff like that. My main issue with the game at the moment is I think the Hydra stuff wasn't great. I think we waited for a really, really long time for updates to Hydra, and everyone hates it. It's not been good. Straight up, it's not been good. I mean, I think Curse City and Siege, arguably even Live Arena, like all the content needs updates. No question, Curse City and Siege need some fairly substantial updates. I don't want to wait for like 2 years and then have an update like the Hydra stuff, I want more. I just want to see it to be better in the future. So hopefully that is something feedback they will get, and hopefully they can sit down and be like, okay, we actually do need to put, we need to upgrade those teams. We need to have more people working on this and improve it. I think that is the message. This quality of life stuff is what we need. I think people don't want just lots of new content and lots of new champions if they're not good. I think people really want, there's a big outcry, I think, from what I've seen, for quality updates to existing content in the game. The game's not really short on content, but the game has been a little bit short, in my opinion, for a while now in terms of the quality of the content, and that's what we want to see improve. Again, all this stuff is steps in the right direction, I think. This is good. This is great. More stuff like this. I mean, that's basically the more stuff, more buffs to old champions, more stuff like this, more or better and more updates to old content in the game. These teams are doing good work. Let's increase the number of people working on these teams or whatever. I don't know. Again, I'm not an expert. Whatever needs to happen for more quality updates to the game, that's what we want to see. At least that's what I want to see. Let me know if I'm right or wrong. I think this is going to be a pretty popular point, but let me know if I'm wrong or right in the description down below. Or not the description. Hopefully you can't edit the description. Let me know in the comment section. Do let me, if you can edit the description, do let me know, because that is a serious security breach to the channel. That's a disaster. Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you all next time. Oh, actually, one final thing. Thank you for watching this long. Oh, where is it? Where is it? Yes, here it is. This video should be going live around 4:30 p.m. UTC. So probably around 2 hours after you're watching this video, if you've watched the whole thing, we will be going live for a Minecraft stream. So it's like, you probably recognize me and Saf and YST. We also have got Molly and Chloe from HH Gaming. And of course, Dan, the man himself, Fixian, who is like the co-lead of HH Gaming, with, of course, the man, the myth, the legend, Hell Hades himself. Hades is unfortunately not going to be part, I think, of this Minecraft stream, but the 6 of us are, and my girlfriend, I think, is also going to be taking part as well. I don't think she's going to be on comms with us. It's a bit complicated because she'll be playing on the PS5. Anyway, I'll see you guys for the stream. We're going to be streaming for about an hour for some Minecraft. I'll see you there, and you can see how it goes, and we'll chat all about it there. If you're interested, just going to be a chill time. Mining, crafting, luring some creepers into YST's base. It's going to be a good time. I'll see you for that. Thanks for watching. See y'all soon. Goodbye.